Sauternes cask is rare. Yes, I would love for people to try a whiskey that is finished in Sauternes cask. We've tried something.
Yeah.
What could be the options here available in India when it comes to sherried whiskeys? Similar, I would say.
I think even if it's not available in India, it's something people should hunt
Yeah,
for
yeah, absolutely.
and add to their collection. People who like whiskeys should definitely have it. Hi everyone, Swati and Vinayak from the Dram Club. And today we are back with another video that we are going to react to. So I found this video on YouTube which says I built a perfect whiskey collection with only these 5 bottles, which is very interesting. So we're going to play this video and we will react and comment on each of the bottles and see if this whiskey collection is actually perfect or does it need some more additions.
Also, this video is from, I think now that we are watching it for the first time.
Yeah.
I think First Fill, this is by First Fill.
Yeah.
So First Fill Whiskey, I think great channel. If you are looking for some great insights into the world of whiskey, some information, some knowledge, I think it's a great YouTube channel to follow.
I agree. So this video is about 6 months old. It has about 33,000 views. Vinayak, are you ready?
Yes, let's get going.
Okay.
Own. So you could save your money. So this is going to be a great gift guide. It's going to be a great way to show you how to build a whiskey collection. It's going to be a great way if you're a whiskey beginner to show you how to taste whiskey flavors and which kind of roads you can kind of go down to make kind of shopping for whiskey a lot less confusing. So I'm Phil. I'm going to fill you in about whiskey, and these are the 5 whiskeys that I think you should have on the shelf. A different type of 5 whiskeys video going around, which was like the daily dram, the Friday night sipper, the special occasion. This is not that video. So recently I've often talked about the 3 categories. So what are they? So they were the light and fruity, which is kind of like your ex-bourbon cask whiskeys, rich and round whiskeys, which are kind of like your mostly sherry cask whiskeys, and your peaty and smoky whiskeys. I've always talked about if you try at least one of these 3 categories, that's a great start. The thing is, I felt like there were 2 categories missing from that. The earthy, the chemical, the heavy funk side, and then you've got the wood and grain, especially from bourbons. So there's still going to be exceptions to the rule, but I think these 5 categories work way better. What I'm going to do in this is kind of give you some great recommendations for each, so that whoever you're buying for, I'm sure there'll be something on this list that they'll like. So the first type of whiskey on this list is that light and fruity, the fruity and floral, and this is one of the big gateways to Scotch. It's kind of like the most fundamental version of like a single malt. It's in like an ex-bourbon cask. It's not got like heavy kind of cask influence, not smoky as well. I'd definitely go for the Arran Sauterne cask. Arran, I always find, is a very kind of strong kind of orchard fruit type whiskey, and the Sauterne cask being a sweet wine from Bordeaux, especially if you're ever in France, go get yourself a Sauterne, and it's like this like sweet, syrupy, really nice wine. I always get a lot of like really tropical flavors, and you can see that carried over into this whiskey. So next whiskey in that light and fruity and floral.
So I think Aaron, I mean his recommendation is fine, but the only thing is it's not a very easy, I don't think Sauternes is a core range in Aaron. I could be wrong, but Aaron very difficult to get hold of, especially if you're in India. Sauternes cask is rare. Yes, I would love for people to try a whiskey that is finished in Sauternes cask. We've tried something that is in the works, but it makes for great whiskey, but I don't think this is something a lot of people can easily buy. So I don't think I would agree with this recommendation primarily. I mean, probably where Phil is, it's available, it's widely available. It's not easily available in India, so I would sort of skip this.
Also, I think the Sauternes cask whiskies that I've had, firstly, I've not had a lot because there aren't a lot available. But the ones that I've had, I felt that they are slightly heavier. And for me, it's a little bit of a contradiction when he's recommending it in the light and fruity category.
Okay.
Yeah. So and like all the other things that you said, Arran is not available. Sauternes cask in general is not very easily available. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'm completely in alignment with
what
this.
What is light and fruity?
Those are the flavor camps that he's talking about.
So this is light. This was the light.
This was the light and fruity. So that's the thing. Yeah.
Category, it's sort of a backup option. I actually think it's quite underrated. I think what happened is a lot of people tried this distillery, it's a newer distillery, quite early on, and I think when it came out, some people were like, oh, it's a bit spirity, not so sure. and haven't actually returned to it. And I have talked about this before, but it's going to be the Lindors. I can see that it's also aged in some wine barriques, and you can definitely see just a touch of those dried fruits coming through, but it's mostly in that sort of floral, orchard fruit. It also makes a great sort of gift because of the bottle design. There's a whole history behind Lindors, the name of it. Go watch my History Scotch video if you haven't watched that.
So the first category is fruity and floral.
Got it.
Yeah. So what do you think of the Lindors Abbey
So
whiskey?
Lindors Abbey, again, new distillery, right? I think the first whiskey came, I think sometime 23, if I'm not mistaken, 20 to 23, like very recent. Again, you won't get hold of it very easily. So purely, I think ideally, if I have to build a perfect whiskey collection, now that could be something that I am building for holding and adding value. Then okay, a lot of these whiskies make sense. But if I'm looking for a daily dram, if something that I can have, not daily, but occasionally or frequently, then again, Lindors Abbey doesn't sort of fit my bill.
I've heard mixed reviews about Lindors Abbey. Like some people have raved about it and some people have kind of said it's blah.
Okay.
So I'm not sure. I haven't tried enough of it
to
kind of keep that in my collection, I would say.
We're on to the next flavour profile, and I find a lot of people lean into this direction. They love a sherry bomb. A lot of these are going to have that sort of Christmas cake and dried fruit, the rich, dark kind of chocolate, you know, the sort of ex-sherry cask kind of whiskies, the spiced whiskies. It's going to be a whiskey that did really well this year in the online Scotch Whisky Awards. It's going to be the Glengarry 12. This is 48%. Look, it's not a sherry bomb, but I just think in that lane, if someone likes a Bunnahabhain or something, this could be a good whiskey to recommend. Yeah, straight away you get in a lot more of those classic sherry kind of notes. You get in some of the dried fruits, the spice. But what I like about this, it is that nice blend. A lot of whiskies are kind of like full out sherry bomb, and this kind of just takes us back a little bit this way to a lot more of that malty, a lot more of that light and fruity.
So I agree with him, the point that he's making, because a lot of those sherried whiskies can be sherry bombs and quite intense, and that intensity can put off a lot of people. So, but again, Glengarry not easily available. So what do you do? So again, at least from Indian standpoint, what are we looking at? I am totally on board with him in terms of sherried whiskey that is not in your face sherry intensity. What could be the options here available in India when it comes to sherried whiskies? Similar, I would say, is the Glenlivet 18?
Yeah, I was also thinking of that.
Or what else?
I even think the Glenfiddich 18 is decent. While it
That's
is,
Glenfiddich 18. But again, you know, his comparison, all of these, I think this is 48% ABV. So we don't have a like to like, but I sort of agree with the flavor camp and why the reasoning why he's chosen. So makes sense. Okay.
Rich and spicy, I would also possibly add Kintarubar. I think that's a good whiskey.
The Glenmorangie Kintarubar, right?
In this flavor camp.
It's become 16 years now, right? It's no longer 14. Yeah, agree.
We've gone into the smoky whiskey category. A lot of people aren't like smoke heads. They're like Kilhoman Snake, when I talked about it being my like whiskey of the year last year. On Discord, we call it the Snake Gang. Great whiskey. I'm not actually going to talk about the Snake because I think a lot of you now, just through me talking about lots, probably have already tried it. So the first one on this list is a whiskey outside of Whiskey Tube. It's not super popular. Inside Whiskey Tube, this is really popular. People who know where to find good value whiskies know about this whiskey. This is the Lechaig Sinclair series. So Lechaig is a whiskey from the Alamol. It's not from Islay, and it's a smoky whiskey. What I like about this though is that, it's smoky, but it mixes kind of that second category with this category. And it's aged in ex-Rioja Spanish casks. And there are some people who are a little bit more kind of purist with single malt, like, oh, nah, you shouldn't put wine casks with whiskies, just second fill ex-bourbon cask. That's all you should have. This is one of the whiskies I like to show those types of people. But really what I love about it is the price point. You get around the same price in New Zealand as the Lechaig 10, which is also a banger. If you're not really keen on the wine cask or the rich side and you want to go more kind of like the ex-bourbon cask side, go for the Lechaig 10. But both of them are going to be very smoky. Yeah, it's just a cracking good dram. It's nice. You get the smoke, the bonfire, the peat, the like meatiness. And it's got this nice kind of balance of like, interesting, it's sort of like You know when you have like a steak and you're pairing it with a wine, it almost is the red fruit coming in on it. But I think people are forgetting about this one. And the one I want to recommend is this here, the Wolfburn.
Before he goes to the Wolfburn, what do you think about the Leszek?
Leszek is a beautiful whiskey. It's a lovely whiskey. I think Leszek 18 is one of the best peated whiskies out there. This is original the 18. So Leszek as a distillery is making great whiskies. But again, we are in India. We don't have access to Leszek. So if I have to look at a similar flavor cam, slightly peaty, we have a whole host of options. Like, again, Bourbon 15 is something that you can look at. You can even look at Bourbon.
Right. I think we can also look at Talisker.
Talisker
is a good, and while we don't get enough of Kolila.
No, Kolila is widely available.
So I think Kolila is a great whiskey. I also think if someone were to expand their price range slightly, I think Lagavulin 16 is a great whiskey in the flavor profile where there is peat smoke, but then there is some red fruits. So I think that would work well.
If the person you're buying for, or if it's yourself, maybe not a big peated person, you want to try a smoky whiskey, but you don't want to feel like you're smoking a cigar, this might be the way to go. It's got a touch of saltiness, it's very malty, and then the smokiness coming through. It's like you're sort of further down the beach and you can kind of see someone's got a campfire going on over there, and you're not right up close, but you're just a bit further back. And that's kind of what this is. But let's move on to the third smoky whiskey, and this one was actually one that...
Again, Wolfburn, if you remember, great whiskey when we had bought it in 2019 in Inverness. Not available here, so we'll give this a pass. Similar, I think, if someone is looking at similar flavor profile, Ardbeg 10. I mean, not similar flavor profile, but again, a peated whiskey that is not in your face. I think Ardbeg 10 could be a great.
Was recommended when I did YouTube roundtable and we talked about no age statement whiskey. One of the guests here recommended this one here, a Talisker, but not the Talisker 10. This is going to be the Talisker Port Rouge. So
not available.
It's a bit like the Port Rouge.
Port Rouge.
I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but look, I can show you what tastes good. I can't promise you I'm going to pronounce it right, especially with my weird accent. Here's one thing: if you ever meet a New Zealander, ask them how they pronounce three different things. Firstly, a grizzly bear, you're barefoot, like you got no shoes on, barefoot, and you're having a beer, like drinking a beer. The thing is, we don't pronounce them all the same way, but this is the Talisker Port Rouge and aged in some port casks. It's very much in that dried fruit lane, even more so than like sherry is, but it's got this kind of nutty and spiciness to it, but port always is like that raisins I always get. Kind of sea profile, the ocean, the salt, but it's got that warmth, the sweetness of the port that comes through as well. So if you're going to buy 3 whiskies and you haven't tried much whiskey, buy one of each of those categories, and I guarantee.
What do you think about the Talisker Port?
I don't disagree again with Port Rouge, but again, if I look at what's available in India, I'll probably stick to the Talisker 10 then. But again, you see, the thing is, it's mild peat and port combination. So it's I mean, we know peat and port makes for a great whiskey.
I'm just thinking we don't have any peated whiskey in India which is finished in port wine cask, right?
Amrut did a limited edition that was there. There was a limited edition. What else? Peated? No, there's I can't think of it. Port, Paul John has a couple of port editions, but
I don't think they're peated.
They're not peated,
Too. And a big part of my channel is helping show you that, but I've always been like, okay, well, there's this chart that can kind of help you, and some are really helpful to be fair, but I feel like there's room for something different. A lot of you, like, you're not in this industry, you're not like doing, I don't know, analysis of tasting notes. You just want to know different flavor profiles. You can geek out a little bit, but you can also just drink casually, and it's fun, which is why I made my own flavor chart. And so the thing is, with a lot of charts, like, you don't really know where to start. This is like, you obviously start with the whiskey. Start with the whiskey. And then you go through the big categories, what we just talked about, the 3 we've shown you so far: rich and spice, fruit and floral, peat and smoke, and then you've got 2 more, which the next 2 whiskies we'll talk about. The wood and grain, kind of a lot of bourbons have this, but there are some like very malty kind of cereal scotches as well, but most whiskies will share kind of different flavor profiles. And then you have the heavy funk. This is like your sulphur, industrial, farmy, kind of savoury notes. Let's talk about that wood and grain category. I did a recent video on the top bourbons for kind of a Scotch lover. Not a rare breed, it's not a Wild Turkey 101. It's from the same distillery. It's the Russell's 10. So this one's 45%, so it's just a little bit older and it just has a few more levels of complexity to it. It's just a really nice bourbon. I feel like what I'm learning with the bourbon scene is there's a lot of hype around it, a lot of marketing, the allocated stuff. At the end of the day, you can actually get great value bourbons at a good price that almost get overlooked for how cheap and available they are sometimes. I guess a little bit like a Glengarry, like in Scotch, we can kind of overlook some of those just like classic good whiskies. And I think this is in that lane. It's going to be the knob.
Oh, Russell's 10, I've had it. Beautiful whiskey. I liked, in fact, when I had it, I had this and Blanton's together.
Okay.
I would pick the Russell's 10 any day over the regular Blanton. So good whiskey, same problem, not to. So let's, yeah, so I agree.
So what would you recommend instead of that, like in the Indian scene?
Weller 12.
Yeah.
It's available in India at a great price, so why not?
Creek 9. It's your classic bourbon notes, the maple, the brown sugar, a little bit of cherry. It's just that nuttiness.
I think Knob Creek again, the problem is it's not available in India. What else could go instead of the Knob Creek?
There are not a lot of bourbons available, right?
Yeah. But even let's say if someone had to buy from a Dubai duty free or Singapore duty free, maybe while traveling, because they'll have more bourbons than what we have.
Oh, then there are a whole host of options, right? You can look at even the Woodford Reserve has this double oak, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
You can buy Knob Creek. You can buy Knob Creek.
Knob Creek itself also.
Yeah.
Is the heavy funk. And I do find as people go down their whiskey journey, they have ex-bourbon cask, the sherry cask, and then they try the smoky whiskies. A lot of them end up as the favorite flavor profiles of all of these, being that heavy funk profile. So the first is maybe not so much, I'd say, the heavy funk category. It's still kind of really interesting. And this one I can actually get for a good price. It's from the Flora and Fauna range. It is the Ben Rinnes 15-year-old. So the thing is about this is that I wouldn't put this in that kind of light fruity and floral. I mean, there's probably notes in it that are similar, but really to me, this is a really meaty whiskey. And it's got this real kind of heaviness to it. If I was to go through that flavor tree, it's got that umami, kind of onion, the garlic, the mushroom. And that's a really interesting note. I haven't had that on many whiskies. And I think that's what makes this whiskey so interesting. This is a whiskey I have talked about a lot, but I think if you...
I think when it's come to heavy, the whiskies, I would... Creality could be a good option against meaty. Again, it has those meaty flavors, so I think Creality 13 or I love the 17, so I think it's a beautiful whiskey. Same similar flavor profile, because again, Ben Rinnes not widely available in a lot of locations, so Creality 17 could be a good option here. And if you like umami, or if you're looking for umami flavors, then there is a Johnny Walker Blue Label umami.
But I think that would be expensive.
Yeah.
I also think some of maybe a Dalmor is a good fit in heavy funk. It's dense.
It doesn't have that same meaty.
I think it's got a lot of bite to it, especially the Dalmor 18.
Okay. But again, Dalmor 18, the pricing you're looking at is like it's like almost 2.5 times the Creality 17. It's 330 pounds last time when we were at the distillery, right? So
there are many whiskies, and I think that's what makes this whiskey so interesting. This is a whiskey I have talked about a lot, but I think if you're buying someone who really likes whiskey, or for you yourself, you can't go wrong with the Ben Romack distillery. Honestly, I feel like, personally, this is the thing with having a whiskey channel, is that you learn that everyone has such different palates. Such a huge part of understanding whiskey is understanding the flavor profiles, because all of you, just like you all prefer different types of food, whether it's like Japanese cuisine or like Indian, like everyone's got a different kind of palate. And overall, out of all the whiskies in my collection, I think the Ben Romack Cask Strength would be that like always on the shelf. I love this stuff.
I think Ben Romack is a great whiskey.
Yeah, Ben Romack is great whiskey.
Just mild peat, but like they've been making it, and Ben Romack offers great value.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the pricing is not exorbitant. So Ben Romack, yes.
I think even if it's not available in India, it's something people should hunt for
absolutely.
and add to their collection. People who like whiskies should definitely have it.
It is that funkiness. What is it? Okay, it's a heavy funk. We definitely know it's in that lane. There's definitely something sulphury. The burnt match. All right, got one more backup for you. It's going to be the Creality 13. This again is that kind of in that heavy funk zone. When I was in London, I went to a bunch of different whiskey shops, and I actually asked the store owners, the people who worked there, the ones that were super knowledgeable, I was like, well, what's your personal always on the shelf whiskey? 3 different people said the Craigellachie 13. So I think for those people who love whiskey, you can't go past it. I could still get the lemon, the apple, but there's this heaviness to it. The same way the Ben Roma cans. I might.
Yeah, you can't disagree with Craigellachie 13.
I agree.
Unfortunately, they discontinued it in India, but still, great whiskey.
Yeah, but again, it's one of those whiskies that you should buy whenever you see it.
Yeah, the bad boy of Speyside, that's what it was called.
I think what I like about this video is, firstly, it's not just only 5 whiskies.
It's more.
It's more than 5 bottles. But I think the way he's kind of segregated the flavor camps and then recommended 2-3 whiskies. So even if like something's not available, you know what flavor camp, so what is an alternate that you can buy. I think that way, if you follow this flavor camp, you can actually have a comprehensive whiskey collection which offers something for everybody.
Absolutely, agree.
So with that, we come to the end of this reaction video. Let us know in the comments below what kind of whiskies did you enjoy hearing about in this video, and if there are any other videos that you would like us to react to, please put the links in the comments below.
Yes, and we will make sure that we do a similar video about whichever video you post in the comments for us. And please do not forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more such videos.